Kyabra Learning Centre. Experiments. The Lytton-Hitchins family and others provide details, intentions, ideas, findings and how-to information on various love and soul-based experiments and the interesting findings they have experienced in and about the environment. This is an Environment Soul Experiment series. The topic is pigs and the speaker is Peter Lytton-Hitchins. This is session 1, part 1, recorded on the 25th of August 2013 in Kentucky, New South Wales, Australia.
Hi, we're in a paddock that we are in the process of rehabilitating, and as you can see, the pigs have just come in here like bulldozers and just dug the whole place up, and it's pretty impressive when you actually see what they can do. And what we'll do, we'll just come and have a close-up look here, and you can actually see how they've actually dug the whole bit up, and then you get all this bare dirt where they've been. So one of the things we're going to do is, a couple of weeks ago we came in here and we planted wattle seeds in here. So we just come along and we just planted a wattle seed where the bare ground is. So we'll come back in here and we'll film it in another few months. And what we did was we just treated some wattle seed, and then every bit where there's a bit of bare ground we just put a wattle seed in, just plant it in there. And hopefully, in a few months' time, the wattles will all start coming up. So we'll come back in here and just see our progress. And one of our thoughts is, at the moment, especially with wild pigs in Australia, there's this big conflict between agriculture and feral animals. And we want to get to the state where there's no longer that conflict on our property. And in Australia, what tends to happen is mostly we try and shoot and we try and kill and trap all the pigs, all the kangaroos, all the feral cats, all the goats, and anything else, the cane toads. And what we find is the more we seem to be killing these animals, the more feral animals we seem to be getting in our country. And it doesn't really make sense. So the experiment that we're wanting to do here is we're wanting to see what influence the soul has. And as we grow in love towards all animals and start treating animals equally, so that we don't have this priority where we love, say, domesticated animals more than we love wild animals, or we love the koala more than we love the goat. And so we wanted to get to a point where in our souls we love all animals equally, and then seeing what that effect then has on all the animals that are in our environment. And I have a feeling that if we're open to what the pigs are doing on our property and what's going on here, that we can then start utilising them so they become part of the rehabilitation process. And how cool would that be, you know? You wake up in the morning, you go and have a chat to the pigs and say, let's get to work today, boys. They go off and do their thing, and then we follow in behind, and instead of having to physically plant trees, we come in and we plant seeds, and we use the pigs where this bare ground is. It often stays bare for 3 or 4 months, so it's quite a good place to actually plant seeds, in the fact that there's not a lot of grass competition for a couple of months in that place. So that's something that we're wanting to fine-tune and work on. And I sort of see that in the future, instead of this being the pigs and us mentality where they're distracting and taking over our property and bullying us and, you know, being destructive of all the beautiful things that we're doing on the place, that then there starts to become a harmony between them and us. And also then there's no longer the need to go into this massive breeding system where, you know, they're all having 10 and 15 babies at a time, and suddenly the population is increasing at an alarming rate. You know, the first thing I'd like to see here is that the population of pigs starts to stabilise. So instead of having lots more, that it just becomes a population that's quite static, or neutral population growth. And that would be a nice thing to see. But this is part of the experiment, part of the journey, and we'd like to start documenting these things. When I first saw something like this a few years ago, I'd be so ashamed to show anyone this, you know, because in the country that we live in Australia, we have a responsibility to to protect the land against feral animals. So there's even laws that state that you have to do certain things. So part of our documentation is wanting to see just how our influence affects the wild populations of feral animals in the country too, and even the native animals too. So that's part of the experiment that we're going to be doing over a period of time. This is stage one.